Hey guys, and welcome to Captain Charlemagne's Models. I'm your Captain Charlemagne, so let's head over to the bench and see what we're doing for today's project.
Hey guys, and welcome back. So, it's been a couple days. So, in the last episode where we left off, a good bit of stuff hadn't been fully done yet. I'm sure some of you noticed there's more stuff all on top of the model. Well, recently I was involved in the HTM or Hobby Time Modelers Fun Friday group build, and I needed something to build, so I did some work on the Titanic. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be continuing on with the stern because, well, even though I did more stuff here, there's still a lot left to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to add on these little pieces here that the ship uses to station itself when in harbor. This is the part where all the cables / ropes are tied off of, I believe. So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn the model around. That way we can work on adding these to this part here. So, how have all of you been? I hope you've all had a good week. And have been taking care of yourselves, especially those of you guys who are up north. Last I heard, you guys have been getting a whole lot of snow. Well, not just up north, I think it's also out in the Midwest and further out. That's also been getting a lot of snow, but I hope all you guys are taking care, keeping warm. I've had a lot of people joke with me saying, to those of you guys that are up that way, snow and cold ain't nothing new, but well, for someone like me who's from Florida, that weather, I could not deal with that kind of weather, personally. Alright, so sand this one clean. Also, heard some awesome news recently. So, Gambody has just released a print that you're able to do for the Enterprise F, as seen on both Star Trek Online and when it was made canon in Star Trek Picard. So that's actually something awesome. So now we literally have models for every single Enterprise. I know there's going to be the random person in the background who'll probably point out, be like, oh, what about the Enterprise F? Well, yeah, it popped up in the show, but at the same time, I'm not a fan, so I try and steer away from that one. Alright, so with those added on, what we're going to do is we're going to add on the two derricks or ship cranes that go here in these two spots. So going to need is these. I guess these ones are different in the sense that they don't seem to use the wooden variants. For that come included with the kit. So we gotta make that. So next we're going to need is, like before, F1 and 2. So gotta hunt down F sprue. This ship has a lot of cranes on it. Both for just getting stuff on, and of course, I believe the davits. Anyone who's more knowledgeable, do let me know in the comments below just how many cranes Titanic had, because I am actually very interested in knowing this. As while I've said in the past, I'm not the biggest fan of civilian vessels, Titanic being a civilian vessel, I ain't above learning some little snippets of history. Alright. Let us see now, with this going on, these point away. Another thing that recently happened when making this kit, and it's something which I've already been a slight pet peeve that I've had while doing it, is sometimes with the pieces they don't want to hold in. And so this actually happened on the opposite side, but I'll use this side as an example. The piece right here didn't want to stay in. So what I had to do was I had to take some wood glue and a little pin, and I had to stick it through the piece and let the glue stick it in place. Which, for kits like these, which is supposedly a puzzle and the parts are supposed to hold themselves in place, that kind of doesn't work. But even regular model kits don't always have pieces that are supposed to hold themselves in place. So when we do eventually get started on what the Seahorse bark, which is a pirate ship that this company that made the Titanic Rolife made, we will be gluing the parts on that. That way we at least have stronger bonds for everything. Alright. Then this one goes over here on this side. Like so. Done with F for a moment. Now, bring back another old friend, that being a sprue so that we can get a hold of these. Aside from the minor headaches that the little puzzle kind of gives in terms of the stuff wanting to stay, they're not bad little kits, all in all, for their price tag. And the fact they're mainly made of plywood, but that just means I'm gonna be very careful of letting them get wet, because I have a feeling that this is not normal wood, even though it says it's plywood. Alright. There we go. Alright, that one is in. So now we're going to move on here. Alright, so we've already completed the next step, which was adding on this deck and running the lights, which is this part here, through the top. So we are actually good already on that one. Next, what we are going to need is D25. So let's see if I can't find that. Here we go. Another thing also happened recently. So my bigger hobby knife that I like using, the one I'm sure has been shown constantly on this channel, and also that I've said since I started this project that needs the blade replaced, I set it down over here on the desk the other day, and I come back to work on the model. The knife's gone. Completely gone. So, and apparently my family doesn't know where it is either, so either I'm being lied to, which I have a feeling I am, or it is genuinely gone, which is disappointing because I got that from a family member. Alright, let's see now. Pardon me real quick, I need to take the thing off screen, that way I can at least try and get it in that way, because it's wanting to be a very, very difficult piece. Alright, there we go. So, yeah, I had to fight this piece right here to get it in. Alright, so after that piece is installed, what we do, according to this at least, is the light will go and sit in that. That'll also help keep it away. So with that, next step is F47. So let's see where this one is. There we go. Found it. Alright. And then this piece here goes on here. Oops. Now that was something I didn't try to get happening. But sadly it did. Eek. Not only did that pop out, but I also had the parts here at the bottom, which acts as the stand for it. Also decided it wanted to pop. Get out of spot. Okay, there we go. So, minor inconvenience out of our way. With that done, our next step is we're going to be installing. Okay. This piece around the edges. So what I'm doing with this is I'm actually going to glue this one on, as I do not trust it to hold its form. So, according to the diagram, get a little stick here. Glue on here, here, go. And it goes up to this one here on both sides. Go. And like that, almost one whole part of Titanic's rear section is complete. So let me grab the instructions real quick. Our next step shall begin now. We are going to need is G7. Find my G sprue real quick, right here. I find it funny. We're on page 27 right now for the instructions. This booklet has over 62 pages. So we still got quite the ways to go before we are fully done with this. All right. Now, what we're going to need is we are going to need F57 and F58. Titanic some out of the way and readjust the camera angle slightly. There we go. There it is. I lost where my piece was. Alright. Now, this way. And if you're wondering, I lost the page that had the very small pieces of double-sided tape So I'm going to be going with glue for the rest of the way for this. Which also has the added benefit of actually keeping parts down if some. Once it dries, all right. Next, we are going to need is D37. There it is. Had to locate my sprues. Yeah, very tiny. And the glue also has the added benefit of when it dries clear, so. Alright, just had to make sure that was even. Next we need is F22 and F23. So another thing I wanted to bring up with you guys, I almost actually just forgot it. The project log going forward. So what I'm about to discuss with you guys is is the next 2 projects that we're going to be working on. So once Titanic finishes, we'll of course be moving on to the next one, and then the one after that. So that's how I'm gonna start doing this, instead of giving you guys like massive views into future projects that I normally do, like saying after this we're gonna do that. While I did in the one previous episode give you guys an idea of going forward what I want to try and get done this year, what I'm rambling. So going forward, what the next project after Titanic that we are going to be working on. So after Titanic, we are going to be working on that pirate bark that I was talking about, that Rolife came out with. The reason why we're going to another Rolife kit right away after Titanic is it's actually a fairly interesting little vessel, and I actually very much want to build it because it's like an 18th century, not like 18th century man of war but it's supposedly a pirate ship. In fact, it even has black flags with it. Which, I really want to look at those flags, see if they're cloth flags with the kit. Because if they are, I might just remove the black flags. Because to my understanding, pirates didn't always sail with black flags. I'm pretty sure that'd be one way to give it away that they were pirates. Now, I could be wrong on that, but I just can't see them doing that. Because that'd give them away in a heartbeat, sailing around with black flags. Now, their colors, I could definitely see them going around with their colors flapping in the wind and their ensigns showing the skull and crossbones. But a black flag, black sails fluttering in the wind is one way to get any government ship coming after you faster than you can say Davy Jones' locker. And I'm pretty sure a lot of pirates didn't want government ships coming right after them at any given time while they were on the seas. As pretty sure a lot of pirates were ambush users, taking targets of opportunity, and sailing around with a black flag is a very, very good giveaway of who you are. But I could definitely be wrong on that, and they could have done it just to be prove something. Alright, let's see now. Next up is going to be our stairs. So we need multiples of those. So 3 sets of stairs. Anyway, so the bark is the next one that's coming in. Up next. Following the bark is going to be, funny enough, a starship. In fact, I believe I've already talked about it on the channel. That starship is going to be the New Orleans class, as seen in TNG, the Battle of Wolf 359. In fact, I think that was the first time we ever saw it. It was just as a damaged piece of wreckage floating around. Anywho, let's get the next thing on. Those are the 2 next projects that are a guarantee happening. The reason why the starship's coming after the pirate ship? Simple. I really want to do that pirate ship. In fact, I had already debated setting up and starting that project actually, before I made this video, in fact, this video was actually supposed to be held off for at least another week because I wanted to do that, the first episode of the pirate ship, but I'm like, you know what? No. The reason being is, if I started the pirate ship, not only would I have no place to set it here on my desk because I have royal oak sitting off on the side over here, but I probably never return to Titanic. And I do want to get Titanic done. F.4 is next. So, yep. We are going to be taking Titanic on the long haul. And then once she is finished, the pirate ship. And then a starship. Fun, fun, fun. In fact, I even, because it's just a modified Galaxy class that had been altered, we're going to be using the trying at least to use the polar lights ones, and if I have to, see if I can't find any what are they called, the Aztec for Dummies for the Galaxy class. And I also think there's another company that makes masks for the Aztecing patterns for the Galaxy. Okay, found it. And I do know that somewhere there might be somebody that's going to be like, or am I adding the marker / whatever pieces that were on the that's known for on the ship. And to answer that question, no. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a modified New Orleans. So the little pods that are on the top and on the bottom saucer of the New Orleans are going to be coming off. I'm heavily debating putting on a mission pod that we see on the Nebula, or even adding a roll bar system similar that we see on the Miranda class onto it. This is mainly because I just think it'd be interesting. Alright, so once those stairs are on, we need F90 and F25. But I think it'd just be interesting because not every starship, even if it's part of a class, needs to be looked at the same way. And I do believe that those can come off and be replaced. Okay, F90. There it is. But anyway, that's all for the future. As we get closer to the New Orleans class, more information will come out for it. And also, as we get closer to being finished with this, more information will become more readily available for anyone who's interested in the pirate ship. Alright, so this goes in there. And this one. Goes there, so. Oops. Yep, big oops. Put these on backwards. Alright. With that, these ones will go here. Okay. But yeah, this year is going to be, and the funny thing is, a lot of people say about New Year's resolutions, you make them, but you can never keep them. So this year, what I decided to do for this year, aside from trying to get Shelf Queens done, which that's going to be, or worked on, is all about finishing a project first before moving on to the next one. So we're going to be focusing for a little while until I get the rhythm back, one project at a time. Maybe there'll be days where I decide to jump in and throw in a smaller model together with the bigger model, but we shall see as we go forward. Alright. Set that in place. Alright. Next up is, once again, needing the H sprue. And given what I've seen so far with my sprues, we might be nearly done in terms of our boat cranes. just marking off what we've been working on so far for this. Oh. Crap. So, it seems the piece we just now built, which I originally thought we were building for the back here, is actually a piece that goes up here up the front. How fascinating. And so, there we go. There we go. And where it goes, get our little cranes made up real quick. So that's where this whole piece rests. Weird just how much space is actually in between here and here, but I guess that'll change as we add on the side of the hole. You won't really be able to notice it, but it's still weird to me. And alright, that is going to conclude everything that we did in this episode of our building of the Rolife RMS Titanic. So, I think we did fairly good bit. Although we didn't do as much as we probably could have, we still got the back end on, added on this small little deck, as well as finished building up the crane or boat davits that go over here, as well as started the first steps we need for the front of the ship. So in the next episode, we'll continue on from there onto the 10th step, which is most likely going to continue building up the front of the ship. So I'd like to thank you all for joining me here today. I hope you all have a nice day. I hope you all have a nice week. And I shall see you all again here fairly soon. This has been Captain Charlemagne, and I'm signing off. Ta-ta for now, everyone.